The Celtic gods. Everyone knows that Jiren is the tallest character in fiction, but how strong are the Celtic gods? Well, to answer that question, someone's gonna have to go read all the available primary sources for Celtic mythology. So, you go do that, and I'll play some Yu-Gi-Oh! In the meantime. It's only over 200 different texts you have to read. You got this, I believe in you. Huh? What do you mean I'm the one who's supposed to do all the reading? Oh, well, I don't know how to tell you this, but I am not going to do all the reading, because I already did it. So sit down and let me tell you why the Celtic gods probably have a really big number.
9,000!
Now, before we begin, I want to give a little disclaimer. This video is not a good introduction to Celtic mythology. As a matter of fact, for this video, I am assuming that you are already familiar with Celtic mythology. If you don't know anything about Celtic mythology, I made another video that serves as a much better entry point to Celtic mythology. I strongly suggest you that you watch that video before watching this one. Link to that video in the description. Alright, now let's do this. In this video, we are going to power scale Nadu, Angus, Morrigan, Lugh, and the Dagda, in that order. We are going to first analyze each individually, and then we will discuss the powers that they should all share. The opposite of how I usually do it. I know, we are saving the best for last. Alright then, let's start with Nadu of the Silver Arm. So, the most important thing about Nadu is his sword. Nuadu's sword has some kind of special power. I am not going to offer an interpretation, I'm just going to put the text on screen, and it is up to you to decide exactly what the ability of this sword is. However, even with this sword, Nadu dies during the second battle against the Firbolg, so whatever ability the sword may have, it was not enough. And that's it for Nadu. Yeah, sure, I know. Like I said, we are saving the best for last. Now, let's talk about Angus. So, Angus is stated to be perfect, but for actual feats, we only have one. Angus killed the goddess Fuamnach. Fuamnach is the wife of Midir, and the reason why killing her is notable is because Fuamnach is capable of conjuring a wind so potent that it sends someone flying for 7 years straight. And yet, despite the fact Fuamnach can conjure such a strong wind, Angus effortlessly one-shots her. And lastly, before we move on, Angus is known as Angus of the Red Arm. This is because he is the son of the Dagda. And I know that this title does not make sense to you yet, but it will once we get to the Dagda. However, no need to rush, so let's talk about Morrigan instead. Morrigan is the goddess of war. Her sacred symbols are the raven and the crow, and according to legend, somewhere here on Earth, Morrigan has a special garden that was given to her by the Dagda. As for specific feats, we know that Morrigan is casually faster than the two fastest horses in all of Ireland. And that's it for her. Moving on, next one is Lugh. So, Lugh becomes king of the Tuatha after Nadu dies, and he is known by the title Lugh of the Long Arm. This is in reference to his weapon, a spear. According to legend, while holding this spear, the god Lugh was undefeatable. But yes, you don't need to tell me, I am well aware that we can easily dismiss this claim that Lugh is undefeatable by just calling it a no limits fallacy or an exaggeration. Speaking of exaggeration, the god Lugh apparently emits so much light that he is confused with the sunrise. Also, after Cian is killed, the three children of Morrigan try to bury the corpse, but the earth refuses to accept the body. The implication being, the earth knows that there will be consequences for the death of Cian, and that's why the earth does not want to get involved. Now let's cover some of the artifacts he has. Thanks to the children of Morrigan, Lugh has a few magical things at his disposal. Let me give you a rundown. He has the two horses of a king called Dovar. These horses are named Gain and Rhea. Supposedly they are the fastest horses ever. They can run on land and water, and they are immune to both physical damage and electricity. He also owns another spear called Luin. This spear moves by itself. It cannot miss, and if it wounds you, you die. And finally, Lugh has the skin of the pig of Duis, which gives him a healing factor. Lastly for Lugh, it is established that he is just as good at doing what many other members of the Tuatha can do, but all by himself. So perhaps we could use this to argue that power-wise, Lug is somewhat vaguely superior to the average member of the Tu'a. And that does it for Lug. Now, let's move on to the Dagda. So, the Dagda's sacred symbol is fire. He is associated with the color red. He is physically described as being a bearded, good-looking old man, and he is uncontestedly the most powerful god in the pantheon. But what he is best known for is his weapon, the Lorg Anfaid. Yes, I am sure that that's not how you pronounce it. Don't at me, nerd. So, what is this thing? Well, the word is traditionally translated as Staff of Wrath, but instead of a staff, it can also be translated to be a mace or a cudgel, and in some sources, it is instead said to be a sword. A red sword, as a matter of fact, and I personally like to imagine it as a red katana because I think that looks cool. Okay, but what does it do? Well, the Dagda's weapon has two ends. One side has a smooth surface, and the other side has a coarse or rough surface. If the Dagda touches something or someone with the rough tip, the target dies instantly. And if the Dagda touches someone or something with the smooth tip, the target is instantly resurrected and restored. It is with this device that the Dagda resurrects his 3 children after they are killed by Lug. The Dagda's weapon is also kinda heavy. It is said that 8 men are required to lift it, showing that the Dagda has strength above that of a normal human. And in a story where the Dagda sharts his pants, yes, you heard that correctly, no, I am not going to elaborate. Go read the text for yourself if you want more info. In that story, the Dagda drags his weapon across the ground, and by doing this, he creates a huge chasm that divides 2 lands. Now, in addition to his weapon, the Dagda has cleared 12 plots of land and made 12 rivers in a single night. But much more impressive, the Dagda created the Fairy Mound. The Fairy Mound contains the sun, which means that the Dagda has enough energy to spawn a realm that can contain a star. But is this fact alone enough for us to grant the Dagda star level status? Perhaps not, but the Dagda is star level because the Dagda is the god of the sun. That's why he is linked with fire and the color red. However, although he is powerful, he is not flawless. By his own admission, there is a limit to his knowledge, which instantly disqualifies him from being omniscient. And that's it for his powers, but we are not done with the Dagda because I want to have a little discussion about this character. Let's address his name. Is the grammatical article really part of the name? As in, is he actually called the Dagda? No. In some primary sources, we find his name as the Dagda, but there are other texts where his name appears just as Dagda without the article. So whichever way you choose to say it, it's fine. Now, the word Dagda means good god, and the Dagda claims, and I'm gonna quote him here, "That which is not right and lawful may not be done by me." I am sure, however, Bone will disagree with this. And I can hear you, "You're a hater," you will tell me. "The Dagda is the victim of that story. Bone started it." No, she didn't. The Dagda went there specifically for her. He knew exactly what he was doing. But I don't think that's as bad as what he helped his son accomplish. One day, one of the sons of the Dagda tells the Dagda that he desires a woman that is already married. And do you think that the Dagda, the good god, need I remind you, do you think he instructs his son to only do that which is right and lawful? No, he did the opposite of that. But should we, human beings, demand the gods to follow the imperfect moral system we have designed for ourselves? Perhaps the Dagda is right. God can only do what is righteous, and it is righteous because God does it. 'Tis why he's God. And I just made this video worse by making it more pretentious than it needed to be. I don't know why I did that. This video should be about me making explosion noises while smashing my action figures together. So let's go back to doing that. Now, I am sure that you are currently not impressed. Let's be honest, nothing I have said so far is particularly threatening to our hero the Carrot. But now that we know what each god individually has to offer, let's talk about the things that apply to all of them. The Tu'a are all said to be really good looking and also huge. They're all said to be giants. The Tu'a are also said to drift with the wind and ride the clouds. In other words, they can fly. They are also said to have a body with the consistency of air. They are intangible, and if they choose to, they can be invisible. Because of all of these things, the Tu'a are called the people of the wind. Also, the god Nechtan is said to be 100 times stronger than a person, and since Nechtan is not particularly portrayed as being physically strong, then perhaps we can apply this to the rest of the Tu'a as well. The best thing the Tu'a have to offer, however, is their magic. In fact, the Tu'a are said to be the masters and creators of magic. This means that they should be capable of replicating any other magical effect displayed in the verse, which means that all of the Tua are capable of control the elements, fire, wind, water, electricity, all of that, darken the sky and block the sun. At first you'll think that that's useless, but Superman would disagree. Make inanimate objects move on their own, summon creatures, use necromancy, manipulate emotions, manipulate the decisions that others will make you fall asleep, cast illusions, confuse you, make you forget things, and just mess with your mind in general. They can make you deaf and mute, give you diseases, insta-kill you, heal others or themselves, make themselves more durable, disable their basic needs, make themselves immune to water, fire, weapons, and damage, disable your powers, destroy things, know the future, transform themselves or others into whatever they want, accelerate the growth of others, and stop time. But that's it. Yeah, I know, it's a good thing that these are the only abilities they have, otherwise they might get a little overpowered. And that's it, that's all the scaling I have. Which means it's time for the conclusion. So, how powerful are the Celtic gods? Well, many of the powers that the Tua have are each individually already considered very strong. Having all of them at the same time is kind of a bit too much. Consider, for example, that if Goku decided to fight the Tua, any of the Tua could easily make Goku think that it is a really good idea to use Kaioken times 100 trillion, and then Goku would explode. The Tua can simply do too many things. Out of all of the very popular, mainstream, and already established fictional characters, very few of them could resist or perfectly counter all of the abilities of the Tua. That does not mean that the Tua are unbeatable. Let's not forget that these beings canonically can be killed. And if you think about it, the source of all of their power is magic. So if you put the Tua against a character that is immune to magic or a character that can disable magic, in that case the Tua are pretty much dead. But this should be a testament to their power. In most scenarios, you will need a specialized character to defeat them. A fictional character is going to need something better than just I can punch really hard if that character wants to have a chance against the Tua they donan. In summation, the level of strong that the Celtic gods possess is what in scientific terms one could describe as large, or dare I even say, big. And with that said, we did it! We covered another pantheon! Yay! How many more do you think are left? And will I really cover them all? Those are questions future me will have to answer. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, because although we are done with the gods, we are not done with this mythology. In the next video, we will find out just how strong is the Irish demigod hero, Cu Chulainn. Unless you're watching this video way after I uploaded it, because if you are, then I already uploaded the video and you can find a link to that video in the description. Alright, see you in the Cu Chulainn video. Love you. Bye! You know, every time I say bye, I actually wave at the microphone in front of me. I don't know why I do that, you guys can see me. See you on the Cu Chulainn video, silly billies.